What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one of my YouTube videos. A little less than a week ago, I learned hard flips, and even though I think my first hard flip was pretty clean, I still think I have a lot to improve. So basically, this is a sum up video of what I think the most important steps I took to get better hard flips. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so just in case you haven't seen this video already, this was one of my very first hard flips, and boy oh boy was I happy. From the many failed attempts to the countless amount of sacks, all my hard work had finally paid off. And even though some skaters call this the easy flip, there was nothing easy about this trick in terms of my experience. But in some cases, I do think that I picked one of the hardest ways to learn this trick, which is the vertical hard flip. And as you can see, my hard flips go straight up and down. And even though I've seen more horizontal hard flips, I still think vertical hard flips look better. But of course, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And even though this hard flip looks pretty clean, I still wanted to learn how to roll away, because rolling away from a hard trick is a different level of difficulty than just stomping one down, which is exactly what I do in this video. So to improve my hard flips, I did what any skater would do: practice. So if we fast forward one day, this is what my hard flips look like. Specifically on this day, practicing them wasn't any easier than the day I did my first one, especially when considering the continued amount of sacks and shinners I went through. And yes, I will admit, it pretty much looks identical to my first hard flip, but there are a few key differences I'd like to point out. First of all, if the number one goal is to roll away, this is an automatic fail. And it's literally because I'm on a hill facing the wrong direction. As you can see, I'm starting from the bottom of the hill and I'm going up. And there are advantages to practicing this way. For example, one of the things I needed to work on was leaning back a little bit more. And so in this way, starting from the bottom of the hill going up, it really did help. But at the same time, there were major disadvantages that came to practicing hard flips on a hill. One of which was the difficulty of actively figuring out how to use the hill to my advantage. So simply put, even though it was easy for me to realize that I needed to lean back more, actually performing what I had in mind was where I struggled. Because of this, I needed to change my environment to increase the level of performance. And of course, when I did, things didn't work out. This was day 2, and unlike day 1, hard flips were even harder. I don't know if it was because of the change in scenery or just the really cold temperatures, but my hard flip session completely sucked on day 2. And if you've learned any type of skateboard trick, then you definitely know that you're gonna have good days and bad days. And today was definitely a rough day. And it's really funny because even when you think you've mastered a trick, you really haven't. Especially when you just learned it, there's no way. And that's just one of the many things I love about skateboarding, is that even when you think you're done, you're never finished, because there's always more ways to improve. So especially on this day, I kept the same mentality to keep me moving forward. And I hate to sound cliche, but pushing through the pain really helped. I basically had the choice of either giving up after a sack this bad or learn from it. But skaters are usually troopers, so my response to what happened in this video isn't too different from what most skaters would have done, which is trying again. So I did. This is day 3, and as you can see, I made a skate edit out of it. Of course, I can't play the exact music for copyright claims, but if you do want to see the original skate edit, it will always be on my Instagram, at skatevibes_co. Go follow me if you haven't already. We just hit 900 and we're on our way to 1K. Even though day 2 sucked a lot, it was actually pretty worth it because day 3 was one of my best days. As you can see, I got my very first roll away, which was one of the main things I was working towards. Of course, there's a lot of different things to focus on, especially when you're learning a trick like this. So in this case, one roll away was not enough, because just like my first hard flip video, it's always 2 to make it true. But before we move to day 4, I did learn something really important on day 3, which is I finally got the foot positioning right. And yes, I do know this sounds really weird, but it's actually the truth. Especially by now, with all the hard flips I've done in the past, you would assume that I'd know where to put my feet. And it's one of many reasons why day 3 was so much better than day 2. And it had everything to do with where my back foot was. You can't really see it too well in this comparison, but in day 2 I only put the toes of my back foot on the board, in contrast to day 3 where I put most of my back foot on the board. And even though it doesn't seem like that much of a difference, it definitely had a huge impact on how my hard flips turned out. So I started to do it even more in day 4. Even though I do have a more successful video from day 4, I still wanted to highlight this one too, because finding the right foot positioning wasn't the only thing I needed to change. I also needed to find a way to evenly distribute my balance. And even though it doesn't seem like I do that well in day 4, I think it turns out just as good as day 3. This is what I mean by balance. There's a lot going on here in terms of how I stabilize myself on the ground to then prepare for liftoff in the air. And as you can see, my arms really help with this part of the process. So I continued the whole little arm thing along with the back foot technique, and it actually turned out to be pretty helpful. And even though this Hardflip doesn't look the cleanest, it had to have been a step in the right direction. Because even though I landed on the nose on this one, I was becoming more consistent with my Hardflips overall. And I feel like that improvement in terms of the consistency wouldn't have happened without the pains and struggles of day 2. Because if you remember correctly, that was the day I got sacked super hard. And when I think about it now, if I gave up on day 2, I would never have gotten the opportunity to improve, which I feel like all skaters should consider before giving up on a trick. So in this case, day 4 was definitely important because becoming more consistent definitely allowed me to focus on what I needed to fix to improve the Hardflip. Another key takeaway from this video is that I noticed after flicking the board up, I would always catch it with my back foot. Let me know if this is normal to you when you do the Hardflip in the comment section below. Now the main focus was to spread out my feet when I land so that I wouldn't land exactly on the nose like how I do in this video. So this was the more successful clip from day 4. And even though this one wasn't super clean either, I still really like it for a couple reasons. Number 1 is the roll away. Of course, one of the main goals from the start of this whole thing was to roll away. So to actually do that within a 6-day radius of landing my first Hardflip, I'm not gonna I was pretty stoked. And another thing I really liked about this clip was that it allowed me to notice how I managed to improve my balance. On the picture to the left from day 3, you can see how tilted I am, which is mainly because my left arm is way behind me, while to the right you can see that I'm a lot more stable. And I'm really keen on stabilizing my balance because if I ever try to do this trick downstairs, I don't want to be really shaky or wobbly on the landing. And no, I'm definitely not thinking about Hardflipping stairs already. I definitely think I need more practice. And plus, that's like a whole nother video anyway, so it's all flat ground for now. So this is day 5, this is the last day, and it's the most recent day, and things went pretty well. I did go back to practicing Hardflips on the hill, and for some reason I do feel like it helped me spread my feet a little bit more when I did get a land. And I did find it kind of cool that I did a Hardflip to fakie, so I did try to practice and do it again. Okay guys, that was the end of this video. Hopefully watching my process of getting better at Hardflips helps you out too. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite part of the video was, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.